1963 Porsche 356. The 1964 Porsche 356 may not look as sleek as the Porsche models roaring through the streets today, but back in the swinging 60s, anyone with this car was the talk of the town. This two-door car was small and nimble and handled itself very well on the road because of its light weight. It came with a rear engine, rear-wheel drive, and was available in both a hardtop and open configuration. The Porsche 356 looks like it could be in any old movie full of high-octane car chases from back in the day. It went from 0 to 60 in about 12 seconds, which by today's standards isn't the fastest, but back then it was pretty impressive on the track. But procuring one today may be a bit of a challenge. During its production in the 1960s, about 76,000 were made, but the catch is that only about half have survived. That's a pretty rare find. 1970 Datsun 240Z. The 1970 Datsun 240Z is a Japanese sports car offering plenty of horsepower and a luxury interior without breaking the bank. It also paved the way for other Japanese car manufacturers like Toyota, Honda, and Nissan to become accepted and embraced by Western consumers in the following years. The Datsun 240Z came with an overhead cam engine, disc brakes, and independent suspension. And while none of these features were invented by the Datsun, they certainly perfected them and were able to incorporate those systems better than anyone else at the time. Known as the Z car, the Datsun 240Z was the perfect ride for joyrides in the summertime, as well as coast-to-coast trips, making it as versatile as it was stylish. Now, perhaps many vintage car enthusiasts wouldn't call it a sports car at all, since it works so well for day-to-day use. But at a price point of about $3,600, it was definitely a more affordable option for collectors and speed freaks. 1964 Aston Martin DB5. We're of course talking about the 1964 Aston Martin DB5, which was a personal favorite of Mr. Bond, James Bond himself. And while the normal model doesn't come outfitted with machine guns and countermeasures, the Aston Martin DB5 is still a top-notch automobile. The car came with an enlarged and all-aluminum engine, 3 SU carburetors, and a new and improved ZF 5-speed engine that took the car up to speeds of 145 miles an hour. And naturally, the car was beautiful both inside and out. The interior was made up of reclining seats, wool pile carpets, and full leather trim in the cabin. 1958 Corvette C1. It was the fastest car on the street and absolutely dominated the racetracks, and finally brought them the respect and the cash that the company deserved. The onset of the C1 was so amazing that Ford had to take a step back to rethink their new Thunderbird. The bar had been raised higher than ever before. It had an incredibly cool and luxurious design, but when you took a seat inside, the dashboard was completely dominated by the speedometer that goes up to 160 miles per hour. That's not to mention the gauges monitoring the oil, fuel levels, battery charge, and even the engine temperature that made it feel like you were a race car driver, going from 0 to 60 in under 10 seconds.